Maintaining order in SHTF. Hey everybody, this is Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. That's what we're talking about today. But first off, please subscribe, hit the like button, ring the little bell notification thing for all, and comment and share the videos. All these things help with the algorithm big time. And any other channels you care about, all the prepper channels. Let's lift the whole community up. Let's community build. All right, let's help support each other. Also, you can check out Patreon link in the description below. We do cover lots of good stuff there. Hundreds of videos there. All kinds of good stuff. It's $1 a month. It's well worth $1. But anyway, maintaining order in SHTF. How do you do it? Well, the first thing is when you're building your mag, your team, your tribe, your family, whatever you want to call it, you vet people very well. You only have people around you in your close-knit group. You may have expanding rings of other people that you may not trust as much and let close in, but your core group has to be people that you trust, people that you share morality with, may possibly share a faith with, people that you get to know as good as you possibly can. But even with that said, say your group grows, say you let people in, say it's just maybe you didn't know Bob as well as you thought you did, and things are kind of going sideways or some bad things are happening. Well, in this, really what you need to have is, like, depending on the size of the group, you need to have like a governing council where at least one family member from each family is a representative to vote, kind of like a republic democracy. What an awesome concept. Have a constitution, your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, your bylaws, your rules, your regulations, that everybody, in the beginning, everybody signs and agrees to follow and abide by. 100%, no questions asked. And then anybody else that's coming in has to also agree to abide by these rules and regulations. And there can be punishments and stuff set aside. There can be people designated to enforce regulations. Although it's also better as a group if everyone enforces it, because you don't want like this person going after this person, that kind of stuff. You don't want infighting. Is it going to be difficult? SHTF is going to be very difficult. Well, other than the fact that we're already in kind of an SHTF. I mean more like a WROL. The end of the world as we know it type thing. Teotihuacan, stuff like that. If we are in some kind of long-term event, big collapse, major collapse, invasion, whatever it may be, and we're forming up these communities, these little localities, be they communities, be they towns, be they neighborhoods, be they whatever they may be. Bug out, a mountain, a county, who knows, depending on how many people there are, what your situation is. But you're going to have consequences for people's actions. And they may not be happy about it, but you're going to have to enforce them. No matter how much you like Bob, you're going to have to get together and you're going to have to say, hey Bob, you can't be doing this kind of stuff. What if it means, you're going to have to incarcerate him? Well, do you have facilities for locking somebody up? Do you want to go that route? What happens if you want to kick him out? Well, what are the consequences of kicking him out? A, he's mad at you already. B, he has knowledge of your location, your supplies, your abilities, your capabilities, your defenses, your communications, your everything. That is not a good situation. But then again, you can't just, kill him either. Of course, under extreme circumstances, that's something you guys would have to figure out what the consequences are for what actions are happening and stuff like that. So it is a very, very touchy subject. It is a subject that really you can talk for hours about, but it's nothing that I can't sit here and tell you what to do. You have to sit down with your group. You have to decide what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. Maybe some specific punishments. And like I said, as a group, you need to decide on these things. And they need to be written down in writing. And everybody needs to sign that document. and maybe they can each family, each person, whatever, can have a copy of that. Because yeah, like I said, it's difficult, as even in a family unit, you have arguments, you have disagreements and stuff like that, but it's how you overcome them. It's how you just say, okay, yes, we're disagreeing about this, let's sit down and talk about it. Instead of throwing, cast iron skillets at each other, throwing punches, that kind of thing. We don't want that. We want common sense, cool-headed adults that act as such, and that can sit down, reasonable people. If you want to be around a bunch of unreasonable people, well, then there's going to be consequences for that. So I highly recommend, the more you vet somebody, the longer you know somebody, how does that person act when they go through this adversity or this event, or how do they act when they're drunk? How do they act when they're angry? How do they act when they're happy? Those kind of things. So yeah, it's a touchy subject. It's something that you really need to get in deep in the weeds with your group, with your family, with everybody, whoever it is going to be involved in the situation for your mutual assistance group. I'll use a generic term, MAG. Yeah, have it all hammered out prior to. You can't be doing it during. There's too much to do during. The sooner you can get it hammered out, the better. And then, like I said, as new people come in, make sure they know and that they agree 100%. And maybe every once in a while, if it goes, a couple months down the road and your group is maybe doubled, say, for example, then maybe reconvene and have everybody sit down together and go through everything and see if the new people have anything to add, or if anybody wants to change anything, modify anything, stuff like that. And then make sure everybody's on the same page. These are just some random thoughts. I want to help you guys, and I think that this is a good topic to think about, because maintaining order is going to be difficult, because there will be challenges, there will be different things, and then also you got all the external threats coming in, and the security and the defense. That's all that Patreon stuff I was talking about. That's what we talk about, all that stuff, because it's not conducive to this platform. And like I've said before, I want to stay viable on this platform to reach as many people as possible. The more people that are prepared, the more people that are into prepping, homesteading, those kind of things, self-sufficiency, self-reliance, then the less people will have coming for your food and my food, and for my supplies, and fewer threats out there. More assets, less threats. I talk about that a lot also. So, yeah, build your teams. Definitely build your teams, but make sure that everybody's on the same page. You have to be. If there's any kind of confusion, any kind of disagreements or something like that on these bylaws, on your constitution, whatever you may call it, you got to hammer it out now, as soon as you possibly can. And if during that process it seems like maybe somebody isn't a good fit, then maybe that's the best time, really. That's the best time to tell them that, they're not a good fit. Because once the event happens and you're all in your location, then they're going to know all that stuff like comms, security, patrols. They're going to know where your food is. They're going to know all that stuff. And you don't want to change that around all the time or switch location. That's just too much work. That's just adding on to way too much. So really make sure, if everybody in the group doesn't have the best feeling about that one guy, Bob, maybe it's time for Bob to go. So think about that. And yeah, there might be some hurt feelings and stuff, but it's better to have them now than afterwards, because it can be a lot more dangerous. Because then, later on, Bob will go out there and he'll find the next band of marauders that'll capture him, and he'll be like, oh, don't kill me. I know this place that I can hook you up with a bunch of food and women and, these kind of things. So, yeah, think about that. It's a very important topic that you and your group should have hammered down 100%. And I'm not going to tell you what rules and regulations you should have, because that's stuff you need to figure out. What is based on your moral framework, your ideas, where you are also applies, your demographics, who you're made up of, elderly, younger, kids, animal, whatever it may be. That might have some play into it also, as well as maybe your faith and your faith, the requirements of your faith. Also maybe your, what am I saying? Your culture, maybe cultural. Maybe you would like to have mostly people that are, attuned to your cultural needs. I'm not sure. I say open to all cultures. But maybe a certain culture would only really like to have mostly their people around them. I like, accepting of other people. Just like, as a person of faith, I know that there are good people out there that don't go to church, that may not read the scriptures. They may not pray, in the sense of the word. But they are good people. And you're going to have to decide, do you want to include good people that you trust and everything like that? Or if you want to eliminate somebody because they don't share the faith with you, that's someone you got to decide. I tend to go more for the trust issue and good person, with, some understanding of morals. I mean, I definitely have a moral structure. Maybe faith a little bit, at least have something there. That's very important. My faith is very important to me, but I don't think I would exclude somebody just based off the fact that I sure wouldn't exclude them just based off the fact that they may not be a person of like devout faith. I think that being a good person and good moral structure is more along the lines of importance for me, but that's all stuff you guys have to decide. So think about that. This is a very touchy subject, so it's something that you're going to have to, like I said, make sure you got it hammered down. But anyway, there will be a lot of tough decisions in a big event. Lots of tough things to do, lots of tough decisions to make. And we want to make it as easy on us ourselves as possible, because we're going to have enough to deal with afterwards. We need to mitigate as many of the differences, disagreements, all that kind of stuff as possible. So think about that when you're doing this. Think ahead, plan ahead. Have a wonderful day. I love you guys, and blessings to you and yours.